All right, Shalom, Shalom, Israel. First and foremost, I want to give a call halal to Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Pumalak Yahushua. Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, which the world calls God, right? And Yahushua is the name of his only begotten Son, who the world only calls Jesus Christ. First and foremost, I want to give a strong shalom to all the mighty men. They're going out there, they're laboring. They're presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice. They're doing all they can to wake up the lost sheep of the house of Israel. They're enduring the elements, the 100-degree weathers, the freezer below codes, and standing 10 toes down for the name of the Most High God. I want to give another strong shalom to Almighty Aqua, right? The sisters that are at home, reverencing their husbands, and the unmarried sisters that's out there as well, being teachers of good things, tender, delicate, and on fire for the Most High. Shalom. Last but not least, I want to give another strong shalom to almighty teenagers and children in this truth, doing all they can to make their calling and election sure in these last days. All right. And by the topic of this cold cut, right, it's titled The Sermon on the Mount, Sayings of Yahushua, right? End time wisdom plus more. All right. The Sermon on the Mount, Sayings of Yahushua, end time wisdom plus more. So today we'll be diving in through the spirit. Shalom to everybody that's tuned in, that will tune in to the live stream, right? Love, peace, right? Shalom, family, right? Vernon Brody, Shalom King, right? All praise to the Most High. Princess to a King, Shalom. Don Israel, Shalom, right? Jadis, Defush, Shalom, right? Aya Ra, Shalom. Hebrew daughter, Shalom, right? Abaya Judah, Shalom, right? 1 second. Time, right? So again, we'll be diving in, to the Sermon on the Mount, dealing with the sayings that Yahushua told his disciples, right, while he was on the mount. All right. Some scholars say he was on Mount Abel, all right, or Beatitude, which we'll pull up in a second. But this we'll be going into these sayings, seeing, these are the end times that we living in, and the things we need to be focused on is the sayings of the Lord. All right. It's manifold things that Yahushua revealed to his disciples. And not only to his disciples, the way of living is found through the Gospels. All right. As they say in the world, or sayings that you wouldn't really forget, sayings that you're going to leave up in your mind. Let's say your father might pass off. He might give his last 2 cents. And those 2 cents, or his last words, you're going to lay up in your heart more than any of the other words that he told you before he was about to pass. So seeing that what times that we living in, right, we need to be in the spirit of applying and going into what the Lord told us, or chiefly told his disciples. Nevertheless, these things apply to us through the spirit, right? So we want to take our time with this. Most High willing, we'll be able to finish, this whole chapter. But if we don't, this will be a continuation, diving into, right, Matthew chapter 5, Matthew chapter 6, and Matthew chapter 7. All right, so let's pull it up on the screen. All right, diving into Matthew, the 5th chapter. All right. And again, these are sayings we have to be meditating. Before we go to Matthew, the 5th chapter, let's go to 2nd Esdras, chapter 14. Because it's many wise sayings found of in the scriptures. Many wise words. Many words that certain prophets and leaders of the people gave, dealing with the people that's going to be living in the last days. For example, Esdras. All right. This is the book of Second Esdras, chapter 14, and verse number 12. All right, this is what the angel told Esdras. Second Esdras, chapter 14 and 12. It says, and there remaineth that which is after thy half of the 10th part. Now therefore set thy house in order, and reprove thy people. Comfort such of them that's be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. So Esdras, he's seeing that vision of the furnace that passed over, and the angel Uriel showed him that, guess what? It's not a lot of time left to the end of the world. So what he told him, words that you need to just focus on, that's really, really important. He told him to set his house in order, right? Reprove his people, comfort such as them that be in trouble, and renounce corruption. Verse 14, let go from the mortal thoughts. Cast away the burdens of man, put off the weak nature. Meaning he's saying, hey, guess what? Get out of this world. Cast off the flesh. Fight temptation. Fight these demons. Set your people in order. Verse 15, set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee. Meaning don't be getting stressed out over the cares of this world. Whether that's bills, your children, your living situation. You got to set that aside, because what's finna come in this future is more important than those heavy thoughts. It says, in haste to flee from these times. For greater evils than those which thou hast seen shall happen done hereafter. See that? So that's the warning or admonition that the angel gave Esdras. And the Lord gives us admonitions all the time. Again, Matthew the 5th, that Sermon on the Mount, these are the direct sayings of Yahawshi. This is not just the saying of your great uncle, all right? Or your Uncle Eric, that's very knowledgeable. He's been around a long time. He's giving you wisdom. No, this is literally Matthew the 5th chapter, all the way to the 7th, are literally the direct words of Yahawshi. He's telling them what to do and what not to do. That's the key to, that's the way to live. A lot of people, they trying to find out, well, how do I really live right? How do I really fulfill my purpose on the earth? Well, guess what? It's through living through those words that the Lord said. And for us in this truth, this is what we should be focused on. We shouldn't be focused on nothing else but the words of Yahawshi, but the words of the Lord. All right, there's nothing else to do here at this point, right? There's nothing else to do in this world, man, but to serve the Lord, but to keep these sayings of the Lord. That's really the only thing. These people in the world, they not on nothing for real, man. They getting caught up in folly, vanity, things that's going to shorten your lifespan. What we need to be focused on in this truth is directly, solely the words of the Lord. And this, Matthew, this stuff the words of the Yahawshi get deep, man. Again, it's the way of life, right? Let's go to Luke chapter 6. All right. Let's go to Luke chapter 6 and verse 46. Right? Luke chapter 6 and 46. And it reads, and why call ye me Lord, Lord, and do not the things which I say? See that? Because you got a lot of brothers and sisters in this truth. They calling Yahawshi Lord, Lord, which he is. But they saying, Lord, Lord. You probably calling upon him. But you don't do none of the things which the Lord is in. All right? You in this truth. You probably been in for a while. You know the name of the Lord. You know the precepts. Know what you're supposed to be doing. You know everything about your Yahawshi. You know that he has hair of wool, skin of bronze, red eyes. He's on his second coming, his return. But you don't do none of the things which he said. So the Lord is saying, hold on, how you going to call me Lord, but you're not doing none of the things I say? Verse 47, whosoever cometh to me and heareth my sayings and doeth them, I will shew you to whom he is like. So guess what? The Lord actually has sayings. what you call wise sayings. And the Lord has dark sayings in the scriptures. Let's go to Sirach chapter 2. You read about a man. See, if Yahawshi was on the earth, man, you will have a lot of people, right? Righteous men that would seek the Lord constantly, that would not depart from him. That's the same way we got to be with this word. Because the Lord has sayings. Let's go to the book of Sirach real quick. All right, Sirach chapter 6 and verse number. Sirach chapter 6 and verse number 36. All right. It says, and if thou seest a man of understanding, get thee betimes unto him, and let thy foot wear the steps of his door. So if you see a man of understanding, you got to constantly be around that person. Let the foot wear the steps of his door. All right, you popping up at the brother's house. He opened up the door, said, what do you want? All right, you say, hey, I need to break down this. What do you mean by this? Then he give you the answer, then he closes, then you put your foot in there, said, I need more. That's how we got to be with the Lord, because the Lord has sayings. All right. And with those sayings, you can use those sayings, which is wisdom, and you could be prosperous and have good success if you meditate upon those things. All right, Solomon has sayings. Right, let's go to Ecclesiastes. All right, didn't he say, let's hear the whole conclusion of the matter? Right, it's the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 12 and verse number 13. And Solomon, he's the wise man on earth. He had much experience. All right. Solomon had all of the women. He had all of the jewelry, the gold, the fame. He had everything. He experienced damn near everything. And him experiencing everything, last thing he said was, look, Ecclesiastes 12 and 13, let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. Meaning the only thing to do as a man is to fear the Lord and keep his commandments. Follow the good paths. Apply the word. Right? Don't just call and say unto Yahawshi, Lord, Lord, but do the things which he commands you. Because you have a lot of people that saying, Lord, Lord, but they're not doing the things that the Lord is saying. So that's why we're diving into Matthew, the 5th chapter, going into these sayings, because these are the sayings we need to be laying our mind upon in these last days. All right, so let's kick it off. Let's go straight to it. Right, Matthew chapter 5. All right, this is the book of Matthew chapter 5 and verse number 1. Right, Matthew chapter 5 and verse number 1. It says, and seeing the multitudes, he went up into a mountain, and when he sat, his disciples came unto him, and he opened his mouth and taught them, saying. So before we go into this mount, or also as scholars would say, the Sermon on the Mount, as when Yahawshi is giving his disciples, for lack of better terms, we don't want to use the word sermon because it's a lot Christianized. Nevertheless, the Lord, he was giving a sermon on the mount to his disciples, full of wise sayings, how they should operate, how they should conduct themselves, all right, how they should move when they're following him. Now, this mount that is going into it, right? It's the Mount of Beatitudes, all right? The Mount of Beatitudes, right? So this would be the mount that the Lord gave a sermon on, or some others. It's not exactly located what mount. You know, some scholars, they say it was Mount Arville, or you have even the horns of Hayton. Nevertheless, they say this is the traditional site of the sermon. See, we can pull up a map. See that? So guess what? This is around the area where Yahawshi did his sermon. All right, around this area. All right, so it's good to go into these maps through the spirit. You don't want to think, okay, yeah, the Lord, he's floating in the air on the mountain, he's doing his sermon. No, you have this geography that links up with the scriptures. All right. So let's go back to Matthew 5. Right? This is Matthew chapter 5 and verse number 2. It reads, and he opened his mouth and taught them, saying, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So people that's poor in the spirit, they're blessed. For theirs is the kingdom of heaven. They have characteristics of inheriting the kingdom of heaven. And that's something that you always see in the scriptures. You know, the Lord, he always deals with the poor. He hears the mouth of the poor. All right. He's with the poor. The Lord is not dealing with the rich. All right. Hey, when you read, let's go to Matthew chapter 16. Not that it's a sin to have riches, but it's very, very hard for people that have riches to inherit the kingdom. Why? Because they're going to have to let that go. And with riches come with a lot of pride. And it's a spirit on it. The Lord is not dealing with that prideful spirit. The Lord is dealing with the lowly and the poor in the spirit, not always physically. Because you can have a poor man that's wicked. You want to be poor in spirit. Right? It's the book of Matthew, chapter 19 and verse number 24, verse 23. It says, then said Yahawshi unto his disciples, verily I say unto you that a rich man shall hardly enter the kingdom of heaven. And again I say unto you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter into the kingdom of God. You see that? Imagine that. A camel, that's not a small animal. They have large humps on the back, long neck, long legs. The Lord said it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle for a rich man to inherit the kingdom of heaven. So you don't want to be prioritized on riches. That's what a lot of people, they prioritize that. Yeah, I need this money. I need this little come up. Right? I need that money on. See, that money on spirit, that's not going to get you nowhere. The Lord just said it's harder for a rich man to enter into the kingdom. Right? It says, verse 25, when his disciples heard it, they were exceedingly amazed, saying, who then can be saved? But Yahawshi beheld them and said unto them, with men this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. Right? So you want to train yourself to be poor in the spirit, man. Be lowly. Right? Be at a lower state. Because that spirit it's a spirit that comes with riches. And it's a lot of pride. Right? Let's go to Proverbs, the classic, chapter 30. All right, you're focusing, oh man, I need this extra job. I need to make this amount of money before this year. Right? I need this big promotion at my job. Man, that's not going to get you nowhere. That's not going to get you the kingdom of heaven. Because when it's all said and done, your works is going to have to match up for the kingdom standards. And if it don't, well, you can say goodbye. So when we read through the sermon, a lot of these sayings is to get your mind right. Let's go to let's go to Proverbs chapter 30 and verse number 7. Right? This Proverbs chapter 30 and 7. It says, 2 things have I required of thee, deny me them not before I die. Remove far from me vanity and lies. Give me neither poverty nor riches. Feed me with food convenient for me, lest I be full and deny thee and say, who is the Lord? Or lest I be poor and steal and take the name of my God in vain. Right? So Agur, guess what? The prophet, he said, hey, I don't want riches, man. And that's how a lot of, rappers in this world, and they have the riches. They said, I don't want the riches. They say, all of this money, I'm still not happy. Right? You got J. Cole, he made that one song, Love Is Real. He said, hey, being broke was better. All right? Because it's when you're at a lower state, when you're poor, it's a lot of things you appreciate. So guess what? Those are the kingdom of heaven. So the Lord said what? Blessed are the poor in spirit. Let's go to James, right? Chapter 2. And if you're in this truth, it's a big chance that, you're poor in the spirit. Because the Lord has chosen the poor of this world. Right? This is the book of James, chapter 2, and verse number 5. Right? James chapter 2 and 5. Hearken, my beloved brethren, have not God chosen the poor of this world, rich in faith, and heirs of the kingdom, which he hath promised to them that love him? But ye that have despised the poor, do not rich man oppress you and draw you before the judgment seats? So guess what? The Lord has chosen the poor in this world. Man, that has that lowly spirit. All right. That's, mourning with those that mourn. That look sad, that's tired of the oppression, the evil, unjust dealings in this world, in this society. Let me go to Proverbs chapter 16. Right? So that's why you got to check what spirit you're in. Are you poor in the spirit? Or are you rich and prideful? All right? Because with poverty comes humility. With rich and abundance of things come pride. This is the book of Proverbs, chapter 16 and verse number 19. It says, better is it to be of a humble spirit with the lowly than to divide the spoil with the proud. That's playing upon tables. All right. Now, let's go back to this in Matthew chapter 5. Right? Matthew chapter 5 and verse number 4. It says, blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Right? And we're those people that's mourning right now due to the oppression, the bondage, the slavery, us being in these fleshly bodies. You got to ask yourself, are you mourning or are you rejoicing? See, when you read Matthew the 5th chapter in this sermon, you don't want to have the opposite spirit of what the Lord is saying. If the Lord is saying, blessed are they that mourn, you don't want to say, yeah, blessed are they that rejoice. Blessed are the meek, yea. Blessed are the damn pride, the arrogant. No, the Most High is not dealing with that. You want to be in the spirit of mourning, right? That's the spirit you want to be in, sadness and righteousness, not necessarily depression. But you don't want to rejoice here. I mean, what is there to rejoice about? We're in captivity. This world is getting wickeder and eviler and colder. Our people don't know what's going on. They literally lab rats being tested on. They're confused. We don't have our own land. We don't have anything. We have an evil eye toward each other. We're in this fleshly body. What is there to rejoice about? There's nothing to rejoice about. Right? Let's go to Sirach, chapter 7. That's why you got to meditate on these precepts, man. So you can be in the right state of mind. Because if not, look, you're going to get caught out there. And you're going to start to lose and leak the oil. Right? This Sirach, chapter 7, and verse number 34. It says, fail not to be with them that weep, and mourn with them that mourn. See that? And we want to be with the people that's mourning right now. I want to mourn with them that mourn. I don't want to rejoice with the people of this world. And you have people, in this world, they try to rejoice and act like they're happy, but whole time deep down on the inside, right? They feeling down, man. They just put on a facade. They put on that cover up, but deep down inside, they're mourning. Whether there's something going on at home, right? Might be getting bullied. Anything could be going on behind closed doors. You don't want to be the person that's you putting on that fake facade to rejoice, but whole time you in mourning. All right, the scriptures speak of that. Let's go to that in Proverbs, I believe 13. Right? Proverbs 14, Salaki. Right? It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 14, and verse number 13. It says, even in laughter, the heart is sorrowful, and the end of that mirth is heaviness. So you might, you know that one person, they just laugh and they out having a good time. But then when they go back home, they crying. They sad. They got their head down. It says, even in sorrow, it says, even in laughter, the heart is made sorrowful. And at the end of that mirth is heaviness. Because once that facade is over with, right? You got brothers, they do that in the truth. Right? They try to, rejoice and come on, all praises, right? Got the big smile on their face. Hey, man, let's do this. But when they go home, they really depressed, man. We're not putting on acts in the last days. If it's your spirit to mourn, guess what? You want to be in that spirit. The Lord said, blessed are they that mourn. Because it's going to come a time where you're going to be comforted from that. The Lord is going to wipe away all your tears. Right? Let's get that real fast. In Revelation chapter 21. Right? It's the book of Revelation chapter 21 and verse number 4. It says, and God shall wipe away all tears from their eyes, and there shall be no more death, neither sorrow nor crying, neither shall there be any more pain, for the former things are passed away. So when the Lord returns and comforted his people Zion, he's gonna wipe all the tears away, the depression, the sadness, the anxiety. He's gonna comfort that. All of the pain and the hurt that you have experienced. Only if our people knew that. It's true to be where they at, but guess what? They don't know that. They trying to comfort themselves with drugs, alcohol, money, clothes, things that's not going to truly comfort them. Or that is, but only for a short amount of time. Right? We want that comfort from the Lord. Right? Let's go to Ecclesiastes, chapter 7. So are you in the spirit of mourning or rejoicing? Right? It's the book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 7, and verse number 2. It is better to go in the house of mourning than to go in the house of feasting. For that is the end of all men, and the living will lay it to heart. Sorrow is better than laughter, for by sadness of the countenance, the heart is made better. The heart of the wise is in the house of mourning, but the heart of the fools is in the house of mirth. So a fool is in mirth, rejoicing, but a wise man, he's in mourning. Because he knows not a damn thing he should be happy about. Right? So let's read on Matthew chapter 5. Right? Matthew chapter 5 and verse number 5. It says, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Right? And this is because the most meekest people, right, are going to be the ones that's literally going to inherit the earth. The 144,000, right? Whoever they are out there, they're some of the most meekest and humblest people you will ever meet. And those are going to be the men that's going to inherit the earth, the uttermost parts of the earth. Right? Hey, Moses, he was meek. Let's go to Numbers, chapter 12. Quick precept. Let's go to Numbers chapter 12. And it's a lot. Right? It's Numbers chapter 12 and verse number 3. Now, when the man Moses was very meek above all, and that says, now the man Moses was very meek above all the men that were upon the face of the earth. Right? And if you don't know what meekness is, just look at a sheep. All right, go to your local farm or look up videos of a sheep, of a lamb on YouTube, and that's that meekness. All right. Those are going to be the people that's going to inherit the earth. So Moses, he was a meek man. Wasn't doing too much. Wasn't, trying to get the preeminence. Wasn't hasty in things. Probably laid back, head down to himself. Right? He was a meek man. Now let's go to Psalms chapter 2. Lord said the meek's going to inherit the earth. Let's go to Psalms, second chapter. Let's go to Psalm chapter 2 and verse number 8. Right? Psalm chapter 2 and 8. And it reads, it says, ask of me, and I shall give thee the heathen for thy inheritance, and the uttermost parts of the earth for thy possession. So the Lord, you're going to have the uttermost parts of the earth. There's certain parts of the earth that hasn't been discovered by man, literally. All right. Antarctica fully hasn't been discovered. You got the Esau saying it's a whole nother landmass that hasn't been discovered. You have Leviathan. He's currently in a land of 1,000 hills. Guess what? It's parts of the earth that hasn't been discovered. Islands that hasn't been discovered. Most High is going to give you that in righteousness due to meekness. Now I want to see, right? Meek. Definition. Right? So you have similar. Let's see. So you got antonyms for the word meek. Impatient, assertive, overbearing, arrogant, presumptuous, self-assertive, bumptious. Right? So you have, you have people that's like that. They arrogant, man. They full of themselves, doing presumptuous things. Can't just can't be cool, aggressive, right? Hardy, self-assertive. You don't want to be moving in that spirit. And that's why a lot of people, things is not going for a lot of people in the world, because a lot of people in the world, they're not meek. That's why things is going wrong for you. You wonder why you're not blessed, because you're not operating in the spirit of meekness. Right? And it's so many things with meekness that you could receive. You have the secrets, the mysteries. Let me go to that in Psalms 29. Right? The Lord said the mysteries are revealed unto the meek. Right? Let me see if I can find that precept. Right? Salakia. Right? So it's a lot that goes into meekness and characteristics that come with it. It's a good spirit that you want to operate in, and if not, you could be cursed due to your lack of meekness. All right. Let's see. Let me see if I can pull this up. Right. Mysteries. kind of Sirach 3. Right, this is the book of Sirach, chapter 3. It's another one, Psalms. Right, it's the book of Sirach, chapter 3, and verse number 17. Right, it's Sirach 3 and 17. It says, my son, go on with thy business in meekness, so thou shalt be a beloved of him that is approved. The greater thou art, the more humble thyself, and thou shalt find favor before the Lord. So the more you start to increase, you might find yourself in this truth. You might start to increase, obtain knowledge, a certain amount of confidence toward the Most High, strength, boldness. The higher you are, you want to belittle, you want to humble yourself even more. It says, many are in high places of renown, but mysteries are revealed unto the meek. Right? Let me link that up in Psalms chapter 25. It says, mysteries are revealed unto the meek. So the meekest people, those are the ones with the end-up mysteries. And we see it, with Moses. Moses seen a lot of mysteries. Why? Due to his high level of meekness. Esdras, he seen the Roman Empire, right? He seen the second coming of Yahawshi when you read 2nd Esdras chapter 13, right? He seen the same beast that Daniel seen in Daniel the 7th chapter. He seen the lion, which was Yahawshi, right? He seen that great. Ezra seen a lot of things. Moses, the tabernacle congregation, he seen the back parts, right, of the Lord. He talked to Yahawshi face to face. Why? Due to their meek. The Lord is not dealing with prideful people. Now let's go to Sirach 25 and 9. Right? Sirach chapter 25 and verse number 9. The meek will he guide in judgment, and the meek will he teach his way. So the Lord is only teaching the meek and guiding them. That's why the Lord said, what? Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. Reading on. Right? This is the book of Matthew chapter 5 and 6. Blessed are they which do hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Right? And you want to be hungry for his word. You want to thirst after righteousness. Didn't David say that? Let's go to that in Psalms 42. You got a lot of brothers, they not hungry for this thing. They eat only when they feel like it. Yeah, I'm not really hungry right now, so I'm not going to eat. Then you got that one person, the little fat kid, they eat all the time. Twinkies here, donuts, honey buns, hot crunchy curls. You want to be like that fat kid in righteousness. Again, this is an all-you-can-eat buffet. Which you could, you can get full, but you really can never get full. If that makes sense. You want to thirst after righteousness. Hunger. Starve. Because you're going to always want more. If you're thirsty, you're going to always want some more to drink. And if you're hungry, you're going to always want more to eat. That's how we got to be in this truth for righteousness. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 42, and verse number 1. As the hart panteth after the water brooks, so panteth my soul after thee, O God. My soul thirsteth for God, for the living God. When shall I come and appear before God? So David said, my soul thirsting for the Most High. Lord, where are you at? Okay, that's a Bible. Let me see that right now. Okay, what's that? What's that precept? Watching something educational. That's how you want to be in the spirit. You don't want to be like that at first and then you start sitting back. Yeah, I know that already. I'm not really hungry. Right? You can eat that. You don't want to starve yourself, man. Again, this is an all-you-can-eat buffet. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 9. You don't want to quench the spirit. Right? Because if you don't eat your bone, you're not going to be able to really grow like that. For you to grow, you have to eat. All right. Whether that's in physically, the muscles, the spirit, you need to eat to grow. Right? It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 9, and verse number 1. Wisdom hath builded her house. She hath hewn out her 7 pillars. She hath killed her beast. She hath mingled her wine. She hath furnished her table. She hath sent forth her maidens. She cried upon the high places of the city. So wisdom, she built her table. She hath killed her beast, mingled the wine. Bread is set out. It's off. It's nothing like you coming home, whether that's from work. Your wife got a nice home cooked meal for you. Shower already running. Then that nice home cooked meal to follow up. It's nothing like you coming home from practice and your mom, she made the food already. It's that heartwarming feeling. That's how you want to be with this, this truth. Right, let's go to the classic, Isaiah 55. You got to ask yourself, are you thirsty for this truth? You're not as thirsty as you used to be. Right? You're not. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 55. You used to have that deep hunger, that wolf hunger. Hey, a lot of people, they used to be hungry, then they obtain it, then they not hungry no more. Right? So this is the book of Isaiah 55 and 1. Ho, everyone that cometh, come ye to the waters, and he that have no money, come ye buy and eat. Yea, come buy wine and milk without money and without price. Meaning, come get you some of this spiritual food. We have honey, which is the sweet things of the word. We got the milk, which is the basics. The meat represents the deep things of the word, the tougher things. You got the wine, which is the stronger things of the word, the in-depth secrets. Right? It's so much, man. It's a lot. It says, wherefore do you spend money for that which is not bread? Because a lot of our people, we spend money for stuff that's not bread on a spiritual level. Go out here, we buying this, buying that, when we could be really buying what we need to be buying. It says, and labor for that which filleth not, hearken diligently unto me, and eat that which is good, and let your soul delight in fatness. That's what the Lord meant by blessed they that do hunger and thirst after righteousness. Right? Reading on Matthew chapter 5 and verse 7. It says, blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. You got to ask yourself, are you merciful? Right? Are you always casting judgment? Where's your mercy at? Casting judgment on your wife, telling her that you don't know what's going on. Your children, you don't know what's going on. You might have brothers in the congregation. You always casting judgment. You might have a daughter, brother. You're making your daughter cry because you're not merciful. Certain things, hey, people in this world, you got to be merciful to them. Sometimes you might want to, really hem Jake up. Right? You might really want to get on that with the people of this world. You got to say, you know what? You got to just, certain things you just got to let be. All right? Certain things, because, a lot of people do a lot of things out of ignorance. And you knowing that they're doing this out of ignorance, you got to be merciful. Like Stephen. Stephen was a merciful man. Let's go to the account in Acts 7. Because the only way you're going to get mercy is you got to show mercy. Now, that don't mean you show mercy. A brother, he's doing God knows what. You just show him mercy. Yeah, brother, it's okay. And a brother, he's dealing with harlots. He's doing his own thing. Or your children are straight wicked. But you got to know when to use mercy and when not to use mercy. That comes through discernment and experience. So let's go to the book of Acts. All right. Let's go to the book of Acts, chapter 7. It's the book of Acts, chapter 7, and verse number 59. It says, and they stoned Stephen, calling upon God and saying, Lord Yahawshi, receive my spirit. And he kneeled down and cried with a loud voice, Lord, lay not this sin to their charge. And when he had said this, he fell asleep. So when Stephen got stoned for doing absolutely nothing but rightly dividing the word of truth, all of those men that stoned him, he said, hey, Lord, don't lay this sin to their charge, right? They don't know what's going on. Lord, don't charge them for this sin. That's how you got to be sometimes. You got to ask the Lord, Most High, please don't lay that sin to their charge. Whether that's your children, your wife, your family, the people, your friends in this world, because they don't know they don't fear, they might not fear the Most High how you fear the Most High. You know the Most High. You fear him. Sometimes you got to say, you know what? I'm going to say something, but I'm not going to be too harsh. Because at the end of the day, they don't know what they do. That's what the Lord said. Let's go to that. I believe that's Luke. Right, let's go to the book of Luke. It's like that might be John. Right. Let's go to the book of so I can bear with me. Let me see if I can get this precept. Right, Luke chapter 23. That's right. It's the book of Luke chapter 23. And verse number 34. Right, it's 33. This Luke chapter 23, and verse number 33. Luke 23 and 33. And when they were come to the place which is called Calvary, there they crucified him, and the malefactors, one on the right hand and the other on the left. Then said Yahawshi, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And they parted his raiment and cast lots. So the Yahawshi told, guess what? Hey, Father, forgive these men. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know that they're crucifying the Son of God, your only begotten Son. They don't know the evil and unrighteous things that they're doing. That's how we got to be through the Spirit sometimes. We got to say, you know what? We got to pray to the Most High and say, forgive that person, Lord. They don't understand. They don't know you like I know you. And there's nothing wrong with that. So you got to know when to be merciful and when not to be merciful so you can obtain mercy. All right. So let's read on to Matthew chapter 5. Right. It's Matthew chapter 5 and verse number 8. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. That's going into sincerity. That's what it means by pure in heart. Right? You want to make sure that you sincere in the inside. All right. If you're not sincere, you're not gonna, guess what? You're not gonna see the Most High. You're not gonna see God. You have to make sure you're sincere. What you believing in the truth is sincerity. Don't be deceitful. That's one thing we're gonna advise you not to do. Whatever you do, do not be deceitful in the truth, because there's only a certain amount of time where you will be exposed, and your deceit is going to be true for the whole congregation. If you're teaching, be sincere. If you're reading, be sincere. Don't do anything out of deceit or preeminence or pride. Right? We get a precept. Sirach chapter 1. Right? This is the book of Sirach chapter 1 and verse number 30. Exalt not thyself, lest thou fall and bring dishonor upon thy soul. So God discover thy secrets and cast thee down in the midst of the congregation, because thou camest not in truth to the fear of the Lord, but thy heart is full of deceit. Yeah, you don't, because the Lord would do it. We've seen it before, right? If you know, you know. The Most High will expose you in front of everybody. You cannot be deceitful, man. You want to make sure your heart pure. You want to make sure that, and that's what really matters. Because a lot of people, I was just talking to my grandmother about this. Everybody is so focused on the outside, the outward appearance, what you got on, how you look, how you, this one you tell me how you come. I want to see how you coming. I said, what? Right? I'm automatically thinking in my head, this is off. So people, they want to see how you coming on the outward appearance, but none of that stuff matters, right? People's not focused on how your spirit is, but us in the truth, we able to look at people's spirits. I don't give a damn about the outward appearance. I want to see how your spirit is, because that's what really matters, right? That's who you really are, right? Let's go to the book of 1 Samuel. It's the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 16, and verse number 7. Right? It's the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 16, and verse number 7. It says, but the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not. I'm going to read verse 6. Right? It's 1 Samuel 16 and 6. And it came to pass, when they were come, that he looked on Eli and said, surely the Lord's anointed is before him. So he looked on, Samuel, he looked on David's brother, and he said, hey, that got to be the anointed of the Lord. Probably was tall, handsome, had big shoulders, strong. But this is what the Lord said, verse 7. But the Lord said unto Samuel, look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance. And that's true. Man is so worried about the outward appearance. If you in this truth, you have to train your mind to not look on the outward appearance. That's not the outward appearance that could fool people. Looks can be deceiving. It says, but the Lord looketh on the heart. So the Lord, he's not looking. Lord is not looking at the Monclesi that you got on, right? Or the snapback, or the tattoos you got all just tatted up, or how fierce you look. The Lord is looking on your heart. Is your heart pure? Is it sincere? Right? Let's go to the book of Psalms, chapter 24. Right? Let's go to the book. You want to make sure you have a pure heart. This Psalms chapter 24 and verse number 3. It reads, who shall ascend into the hill of the Lord? Or who shall stand in his holy place? He that hath clean hands and a pure heart, who have not lifted up his soul into vanity, nor sworn deceitfully. See that? So the pure in heart will always remain the pure in heart. A lot of times people like to say, oh, yeah, that person was pure. And then they went over to wickedness. No, because if you're a pure heart and man that's sincere, if he goes into wickedness, he was never pure to begin with. But even in wickedness, the pure hearted will still be pure, right? He that have ears, let him hear. So you want to make sure that you're pure through the Spirit. All right, verse 9, Matthew chapter 5 and 9. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. Blessed are they which are persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So you want to make sure this is a requirement. Again, we want to do the sayings of Yahawshi. You got to make sure you're being persecuted for righteousness. You have to be reviled some type of way. That's why verse 11, it says, blessed are ye when men shall revile you and persecute you, and shall say all manner of evil against you falsely for my sake. Rejoice and be exceeding glad, for your reward for great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets which were before you. See that? They did that to the prophets. And we're valued, that's gonna be, that's gonna be anything. They're gonna call you a Muslim. They're gonna call you woke. They're gonna say why you always in the Bible. Right? They're gonna say you've been acting different, kind of lady. You've been going through them little stages. Right? I'm trying to see what else they're gonna say. They're gonna say a lot of stuff, man. Right? They might call you crazy. Right? They're gonna say you're a Power Ranger. Right? They're gonna say you think you better than everybody else. They're gonna call you weird. They're gonna say a lot of stuff about you. But when they do that, you got to give all praise to the Most High. Hey, your parents might try to kick you out, right? Parents try to kick you out. You're going to get into it with your wife. Wife, you're going to get into it with your husband. When you want to make sure you're being persecuted for righteousness. Don't be the brother or sister you being persecuted because you're doing evil. You want to make sure you're being persecuted for righteousness. Because that's how you know you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. Right? Let's go to the book of 2 Peter. It's like your 1 Peter chapter 4. All right, we love being reviled, man. Right? People gonna say it's just one Jake at my job, man. All he say is praise be to Allah, right? And he think I'm a Muslim. Not telling, I'm not a Muslim, right? But anything happen, we might get off early, or they might give us more pay. He look at me and be like, all praises be to Allah, right? So people gonna say stuff about you falsely, right? But let's go to the book of 1 Peter. Right? I remember my pops, this was a minute ago, right? When my pops, he kind of came in the room. He said, you know what, you always in that Bible, right? He said, why you always in that Bible? I said, what you mean why I'm always in the Bible? He said, man, you ain't even take the trash out. He said, you always in the Bible. So guess what? They gonna say that about you. But you gotta say, hey, all praise to the Most High. Right? So this 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse number 12. Right? It says, beloved, think it not strange concerning a fiery trial, which is to try you, as though some strange thing happened unto you. But rejoice, inasmuch as ye are partakers of Christ's sufferings, that when his glory shall be revealed, that ye may be glad also with exceeding joy. If ye be reproached for the name of Christ, happy are ye, for the spirit of glory and God resteth upon you. And on their part is he evil spoken of, but on your part is he glorified. See that? So you got to rejoice, you partakers of Christ's suffers, because the Lord, Yahawshi, he got reviled, falsely accused, persecuted. They wanted to kill Yahawshi. All right. And guess what? It says, for on their part is he evil spoken of, because they speaking evil about it. They might be mocking you. But guess what? On your part, the Most High is glorified. And that's at the end of the day, that's all that matters. All that matters is the Most High God being glorified in all things. All right, let's get that at 1 Peter chapter 4 and 11. Right, this 1 Peter chapter 4 and 11. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of God. If any man minister, let him do it as the ability which God giveth, that God in all things may be glorified through Hamashiach Malak Yahushua, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. So guess what? God got to be glory in all. He got to be glorified in all things, right? Whether you're having a good day, he got to be glorified. You win off you having a bad day, he still got to be glorified. When you talking about this word, he got to be glorified. You talking to people in the world, he got to be glorified. In all things, the Most High got to be glorified. Right? So persecution, that's something that's just going to be happening. That's going to happen, but you want to make sure you're being persecuted for righteousness. Hey, Daniel was persecuted for righteousness, thrown in the lion's den. Jeremiah was thrown into the dungeon. Right? Meshach, Cedric, and Abednego, they were thrown into the fiery furnace because they didn't want to bow down to the image of Nebuchadnezzar and dance to the music. Susanna was on trial. She was finna get put to death because she didn't want to commit adultery. Hey, Joseph, he got locked up because he didn't want to sleep with Pharaoh's wife. So it's going to be decisions that you make that you're going to have to suffer for, although you're doing right. Why? And it lets you know how wicked and evil and ungodly this world is. You're going to have to suffer for doing what's right. Right? Reading on. Verse 15. 1 Peter 4 and 15. But let none of you suffer as a murderer, or as a thief, or as an evildoer, or as a busybody in other men's matters. Yeah, if any man suffer as a Christian, let him not be ashamed, but let him glorify God on this behalf. All right? Let him glorify God on this behalf. Right? So that's Matthew chapter 5, 1 verse to number 12. Right? Lord willing, we'll be doing a part 2. Because, you know, it's a lot going into these. Right? This stuff get deep. Going into the sayings of the Lord. All right? Going into the sayings of the Most High. All right? But with that, right, we giving all honor and glory to the Most High God, right? Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Malak Yahushua. Like, Lord, whether this video was edifying through the Spirit, continue to read, pray fast, most importantly, beseech the Heavenly Father for his mercy. That's how we're going to say Shalom.